Hello everyone, today's the day I'll open some MiniVerse Hello Kitty and put them together, adding at least one little personal twist to each of them. Because, you know me, I'm always trying to make these a little different than what the instructions say. A little disclaimer here, I already opened them so that I can start thinking about a few ideas based on what's inside. Usually I follow those pinhole cheat sheets when buying MiniVerse so that I don't need to open them beforehand, but unfortunately these particular ones didn't have any marks or pinholes on them. And while we are on this topic, I want to give a huge shout out to Mo. That's where I get all my MiniVerse info like hacks and cheat sheets, checklists, sneak peeks, booklet scans, barcodes, and more. I will leave their link in the description if you want to go check them out, and also show your support for all their hard work putting these together for us by following them on Instagram at Mo. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is the design of this capsule. It's quite different than what we're used to, and I actually went through the instructions to figure out exactly how I should put it together. So apparently this little shelf goes in here, and then you have these two little knobs that go here on the back to keep the thing straight and not falling over. And I think they also double as Hello Kitty's tail. And then you have this little cardboard piece, and you have to bend the tabs at the top, and that's how you get it fixed in this top part of the capsule. And then for this other side, you got like Hello Kitty's ears and the little bow. And this part is made out of plastic and it just kind of like snaps in. So then finally you have this little table leg that snaps into the table and then into the base of this other side of the capsule. This is definitely the capsule in which they put the most thought and design. And I love it because it offers you a way to display your minis, and also at the same time, it removes, wasting the capsule and just throwing it away. So at a glance, here's all you get in this kit to make the pie. Absolutely everything has Hello Kitty on it, and even the pie crust is shaped like Hello Kitty's face. But we're not going to put this together, or at least not at the moment, because like I said, I wasn't expecting to get this particular one because I didn't have any pinholes. So I do not have any ideas how I could make this different. And just in case I end up not building it in this video, I am looking forward to see what ideas you have in the comments of how I can make this different. In the meantime, we're gonna open this one. So we're actually going to start with the cream soda, and inside this kit you get a Hello Kitty straw, a spoon, a nice Hello Kitty glass, a little coaster, the resin, which is supposed to be strawberry soda, some cherries, some Hello Kitty strawberry and vanilla ice cream. I wonder what kind of ice cream scoop do you need in order to make these Hello Kitty shaped ice cream scoops. But anyway, finally you get some ice that's also shaped like Hello Kitty. So in terms of branding, they basically went all out. Absolutely everything is Hello Kitty. First of all, this table won't do because it's just too low. So I need something around this height. I also need those helping hands because the things I'm gonna do in here will require additional hands. So let me bring the helping hands in first, and then we'll see what we can do over here. Nope, still not high enough, but I think I have an idea. So I've put a bolt in there and then a few of these nuts because I have this little thing here, and now we can kind of like hold it in place like so, and it will give it some height and also some stability. And I know it's starting to look very industrial, and it's Hello Kitty, which is supposed to be very cute and sweet, but you got to work with what you have. So the idea I had is to make this glow in the dark, and I also want to experiment to see how it looks. I never tried these powders. I got these as a set, and even though I have a pink one, I think the rose red looks more pink than the pink one. And for this to work, I have a feeling we're gonna need a little bit more resin than what they offer us. So I'm gonna dump everything we have from them in this little cup, and I also want to see the color so I can match it, because I can add some of my clear resin, and then I have this liquid color that you can add to resin, and I'm going to try my best to match it. Now this part is going to be interesting because I do not know how much of this powder I can add. I don't want to make it too opaque so that the UV light cannot get in and actually cure the resin. At the same time, I would like it to be as glowy as possible. But you know what? This is the first time I'm using this, so it's more of an experiment, I guess. I think that might be enough. Let's mix it in and see how it looks. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, especially because we need to add the ice and everything else in there, and I want us to be able to also see inside, not just be a opaque type of drink. So let's leave it like this and then we'll see. So we're gonna put the coaster right over here. So our Hello Kitty glass goes on top of the coaster. And of course, one thing I don't want to forget about is the straw, because I always forget the straw. So we're gonna add this in first, and then also use one of those helping hands to hold it in the exact position we want it in. So first thing we need to do is add a little bit of resin here so that the straw stays in exactly the same position. And I don't want too much in there, just enough to get the straw to stick in. That's why I'm using this toothpick to just get a couple drops in there. And then of course, we're gonna cure our resin with the UV light. So now we're gonna add the resin in layers, like one layer at a time, and then we're gonna add some ice and maybe a couple cherries. Then we're gonna add another layer and so on. Otherwise, you know, this resin is thin enough that everything will just sink to the bottom, and we definitely don't want that. We want to be able to see everything in there, which, to be honest with you, I'm kind of doubtful that we're going to be able to see any of the ice because it's clear as it is, and then this resin is colored. So I don't know exactly what they had in mind with this specific one. Of course, it doesn't help that I already added some glow-in-the-dark powder and then also some more color. But then again, I did add clear resin to this, so technically it should balance out. This toothpick technique doesn't really work, so let me try and just pour some in there. All right, that scares me. Let me see if I have anything else to help me with this. So I have these things. I don't know what you call them, but I know what they do. I bought them a while ago and I knew they're gonna come in handy one day. Well, this is one of the things that happens when you're crafting and it doesn't come off. Yeah, it's fine. I'll get it out later. I think that should be good for now. Now let's add some ice. Even though the guide doesn't mention we should do this, I'm gonna add a couple of cherries too. Just because if we don't see the ice, at least there's gonna be something in there. That's good for now. Let's cure it in place. Now we're gonna add more resin. And I'm not gonna add anything to this layer, I'm just gonna cure it, and then we're gonna add more to the next one, just so that this way there's a little bit more separation and dimension. Time for another layer of resin. Now let's add more ice and a couple more cherries. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not very hopeful about this one. I do not think it will turn out great or the way I envisioned it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Who knows, maybe it's gonna surprise me. I want to add one more cherry, but I want it to stay here closer towards the top. Let's secure everything in place. This next layer is not the final one, but I need everything to be a little bit more raised up so that when I add the ice cream, it doesn't sink in. So we're just gonna add a little bit right now and then cure it in place. And now it's time for the final layer. Let's get our ice cream ready. I think there's enough pink in here, so we're gonna use the vanilla one. Okay, that's a lot more sinkage than I wished, so let me try and cure it while I lift it up a little bit. They also say we should add a cherry. It should be on this other side, but I don't have any more space. No. Definitely not. We're just gonna leave it like this, I think. Let's have a closer look now. Well, it looks okay, I guess. You can clearly see where the ice is, where the Hello Kitty ice is, because it's kind of like translucent there, but you can't see the, you know, the design of the Hello Kitty ice. And before you say something in the comments, I don't think it has anything to do with the way they were placed, because I don't know, for me, it doesn't make sense to make Hello Kitty shaped ice and then put it in resin that's a color. It's just gonna it's just gonna blend in and you're not even gonna be able to see it. But now the thing you've all been waiting for, is it gonna glow in the dark? Because that was the whole point of this, right? Well, let's find out, shall we? It is actually glowing. I just think it needs maybe a little bit more powder. Okay, are you ready? Don't blink, it's gonna be fast. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Just for comparison, here's how the powder charges, you know, just the glow-in-the-dark powder. Yep, a lot more, obviously, because it's just the powder itself, but you can see the little miniature glowing as well, so that's good. All right, well, that was a interesting experiment. Let me clean my set real quick and we're gonna move on to the next one. Alright, so the next one we're gonna try making is the bento box. And I really do hope this one will turn a lot better because the other one was a little bit of a disappointment. I'm also really excited to make the rice for this one because I've never made it. I know it was part of a different series. I think it was sushi or something like that, but I never got to make that one. So in this kit, you get a little spatula, probably to mix your rice. The bento box itself, which of course it's shaped like Hello Kitty. Then you get this little table mat. Here's the resin or water, which we're gonna have to mix with the rice. You also get the silicone rice mold, of course the rice, and then also these stickers that will go on top of the rice once it's cured. And then finally this little container with all kinds of different things that will go in the bento box. Let's have a closer look real quick and see what's in this bento kit. This is some kind of a roll. I don't know exactly what it is. It looks like egg, so maybe it's like a, not an egg roll, but rather an omelet maybe that's rolled like this and then cut into pieces. Then we have two of these little pink Hello Kitty bows, and I'm not sure what type of food this is made out of. We have three of these little pieces of, I'm guessing carrot, or if not, then for sure it's fish cake. 2 leaves of lettuce, and then 2 pieces of, I'm guessing hot dog or some kind of sausage that's made to look like an octopus, and it looks as if it's about to kiss you. So that's everything that's part of this little kit. So let's start by making the rice. I'm gonna pour it into this little cup so we can mix it really easy and not have to worry about anything. I'm not sure exactly how much water I'm supposed to add, but I'm guessing not too much because we don't want to make it, you know, really runny. So I think I'm gonna add a little bit of time, mix, add some more if need be, mix, and so on. Okay, I think I have a good consistency here. I don't know if it's enough to fill 2 of these though. I mean, to make 2 molds. Well, no, because the mold is already made. You know what I mean. So let's put our mold over here and carefully fill it up. I'm gonna push it down and make sure it gets into every little corner, even though Hello Kitty's face doesn't have any corners. Okay, let's add just a little bit more. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now let's hit it with the UV light. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see, do we have any air bubbles? Oh, that turned out pretty good actually. Here's a closer look. We got 2 little air bubbles over there, but it's totally fine. This is rice, so it's not supposed to be perfectly smooth. Now let's make another one. Pretty much the same process, so I'm not gonna get you bored with the details. I'm just gonna show it to you once it's done. Okay, I finished the other one. Let's see how it turned out. This one also turned pretty good. There's not many imperfections or anything. There are little air bubbles here and there, but again, I think it's good that it looks like that. It makes it a little bit more real. And by the way, I was wrong about the rice and the resin. You do have enough. I think I can make at least 1 more, if not maybe 2, from everything that's left here. So now let's add these stickers. It didn't stick properly here because it's curved, so it needs a little bit of help. I have to admit, that is pretty cool. There's actually 2 types of stickers. There's one where Hello Kitty is winking, so we're gonna use that one now. Well, this one isn't perfectly centered, but it's pretty good. Remember those little 2 bows that we had in the bento box mix? I mean, the bento kit. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of clear resin with a toothpick, and then we're gonna secure it in place with the UV light. That looks pretty good. Now let's do the second one. You know what I think I should have done? Probably the eyes, the nose, and the whiskers should have gone a little bit lower so that I can also lower this bow without covering the left eye, but it looks pretty good. So let me show you how they say we should put this together, and then I'm gonna show you my version of it. So the first thing they say is that we should add a lettuce thing here, something like that, and then another one over here. Then the little hot dogs will go over here. It's gonna be a little difficult doing this tilted the way it is because things might fall off, but I'm gonna try my best. Now the little, I'm gonna call them egg rolls, will go over here, something like that. Then one rice will go here. We're gonna put what I think are carrots. See, that's what I'm saying. Technically they should stay against that, but it's not gonna work. So let me add the other one first, and then we can squeeze those in. So 1 carrot slice over there. It fell, never mind. 1 over there. I'm gonna try to tilt it back a little bit. Maybe that will help. Let me put it down and see if I can make it better if it's leveled. So that's a little better, but still, I don't know, I think it's just a little too cute and a little too empty. Aren't bento boxes supposed to be like filled to the brim with stuff? So let's fix that, shall we? I'm bringing in the big guns here. We got pork loin, we got sashimi, we got glazed lamb, mushrooms and green peppers, chashu and boiled eggs. We got some pickles and then some extra lettuce and a few slices of tomatoes. Now, of course, we're not gonna use all of them, maybe. But I want to have all these available and see what combination works best. And keep in mind, I'm not going here for best tasting bento box, but more like best visually appealing bento box. I'm gonna take the rice thing out too, because I need to readjust this lettuce, and also I want to add some more because I want to see it kind of like come out on the sides. Yeah, I don't think that will work. Let me add the other two. Let's see how we can manage it here. Okay, that's not bad. That's not too shabby. We will keep one of these rice thingies because it's still a Hello Kitty bento box. Alright, I'm gonna keep this as well. The egg. I don't want to stick them in place, even though if you would be happy with the way it looks at the end, you can. That's if you decide to do what I do here. But it would definitely work better if you stick them in place so they don't roll everywhere. So I think these are all the elements we're going to keep from the original box. Now let's add some meat here. I'm thinking some pork loin first, something like that. I'm going to add this little lobster tail, or at least I hope it's a lobster. Now what about half an egg over there? Let me just position it correctly. And then another piece of whatever this meat is. I think it's chashu or something like that. Now on this other side, I want to add some mushrooms. Never mind. I'll grab another. Maybe a couple slices of tomatoes. And I really want to add a pickle here in the middle. And I will bring the carrots back and add them over here. Maybe 2 slices here and 1 here in the back because it looks kind of empty. I don't like this empty space here, so I think I'm gonna try to stick some green peppers in there. Okay, that doesn't work. Maybe I should have done that before adding the pickle. Okay, I need 1 more maybe. Imagine if there was some sort of UV resin spray, or I would just need to spray this whole thing and then it just sticks like that. Come on, 1 more. Darn it. My hand is starting to really shake because I've been holding it like this for a while now, but I'm definitely not giving up on trying to get that 1 more in there. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Now I can breathe. Let me give this hand a little bit of a break. So this is my version of the Hello Kitty Bento Box. Now, can you close it? Nope. But it sure does look amazing. This is the type of bento box that I would go for. Maybe minus the lobster, but I know some of you out there love lobster, so that's why I included it. Plus, it adds a nice little color in there, you know? Now, let me clean my set, take a 5-minute break, and then I'm going to decide if we're gonna do more or we're gonna stop here. Alright, so let's make 1 more. We're gonna take a shot at the instant spicy noodle soup. This kit comes with a packet of seasoning, a packet of vegetables, and some Hello Kitty, I don't know exactly what those are, but we have carrots and I think either green beans or peas or maybe celery. Here we have some chili pepper for some heat. Here's the bowl of instant noodles. And yes, I forgot to turn one of the lights on. That's why it looks a little bit brighter right now. And this is the resin. It comes in this little kettle, I guess that's how you call it. It's for boiling water, you know, so it's gonna be probably clear resin, and I'm guessing the seasoning will be what makes it yellow, you know, give it that nice instant ramen yellowish color. And last but not least, chopsticks. Oh, my bad. you also get this table mat. We're gonna put right over here. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with this one. I had some ideas of how this video will go, and I actually purchased in advance the actual Hello Kitty spicy noodle soup. The company that makes this is called Prince Katsu, although I'm sure there might be other versions out there. And I thought, since I need my brain to start working on some ideas, why not have a snack and actually try these noodles and see how they are. So I'll go prepare them real quick and I'll be back in a second. I'm back, my noodles are done. This is how they look. They smell pretty good, but I really hope they're not too spicy. Let's give them a try. Oh, they're still hot. I was finally able to get a nice full bite and they're okay. Just that the noodles themselves don't have a nice bite to them. They're more like, I don't know, mushy. And I did follow all the instructions, so I'm guessing it's just the type of noodles they used. But still, it's pretty good thinking food. I think I got it. I know what we're gonna do. Okay, so the most obvious thing that you think I'm going to do is use the chopsticks and kind of like have a frozen in moment with the noodles and everything, which, to be honest with you, I might incorporate that as well. But just eating that made me realize that it's not about the noodles, at least not when it comes to instant ramen, in my opinion. It's about the seasoning. So the seasoning, in my opinion, is the star of the show here. So my idea is to somehow make the seasoning pouring into the bowl and in a kind of like frozen moment way. And then maybe I'll also use the chopsticks to pull out some noodles. I don't know. But the main thing is I want to get the seasoning like that. All right, so I poured everything here. I'm guessing this is what we would use to color the resin. At least I would hope so. But then our main problem here is that I can't get this opened. As you saw, I just ripped this part by accident. I mean, not by accident. It just wouldn't come off. So the whole point of this was the bowl to be kind of like slightly opened, but I don't know if that's going to be possible at all at this point. It doesn't matter which end I try to pull from, it's stuck there pretty good. So let's try with an X-Acto knife maybe. It definitely won't be as cool as I thought it would be now. I'm just trying to clean these edges off a little bit. Okay, I guess this will have to do. Obviously, this is nowhere near the amount of noodles we actually need. So what I'm thinking is to fill half of the cup with something else, and then just half of the mini would be the actual MiniVerse with everything else. Does that make sense? But I really don't know what should I put in it. Should I just do resin, like just plain resin and cure it in there? Wait, I think I have an idea. What if I actually use these noodles for the first half of the bowl and just mix them in with some resin? I know, it's a little bit crazy, but it might just work. So let's add a few in there. That one is too big. This one is too big too. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I was to just put clear resin in there, if there's a spot in here in the top part where you can see through, it's just not going to look that great. But at least this way, it's pretty much the same thing. Plus, they do look similar. Now, let's add some resin in there. Actually, we're first going to mix some resin with some mica powder or mica powder so that it looks almost the same, you know, so that it has that yellowish tint to it. I don't even know how much to add, but let's start with this. Yeah, I think that's enough. Might be too much, but it's gonna be fine. All right, now let's pour it in. I think I just created my own miniature by accident. I mean, look at that. Let's cure it in place like this. Look at that. It's all hard. Now we're gonna make the top part, but we're gonna save some noodles for that frozen in time moment. I think these over here should be enough. Actually, wait a minute, I actually need all of them to be covered in resin and everything else. So we're gonna add some of these vegetables first, but not all of them, in case I need to do some touch up here and there. I think I'm gonna save about this much. Now let's add some resin. Wait a minute, I cut in the wrong place. Or maybe I didn't. It's just giving me a hard time opening. How do you open this thing? I think it's just the top part. So let me try again. Do I have to twist it maybe? Sheesh. I'm here struggling like a crazy person. I just had to twist. If this is just clear resin, I could have used mine. Yep, it is clear. Okay, I think that's enough for now. Let's add some of the seasoning. And of course, a little bit of chili peppers. Let's give it a quick stir and see how it looks. I think we need more resin in here. To be honest with you, I'm not very impressed with the way their resin looks like. I didn't even add all the powder, so if I added all of it, it would have been even more opaque. But yeah, let's work with what we have and try to make the best of it. Alright, so I'm gonna add some of this to the bowl, carefully of course, because it's so easy to just get it all over the place. Oh boy, I was just working and I just realized how far I got to the edge. That's better. So I added most of them, but as you can see, almost no vegetables made it in here, so I'm gonna add them one by one. That was almost a disaster, but it's okay. Okay, I think that looks good enough. Let's cure it in place before everything changes its mind. So far I think it's looking good. Now for the hard part. Here's the thing. This is seasoning, so we need like a very thin strand of seasoning. It can't be like a thick, you know, how much seasoning is there, right? Also, I'd like for this to stay a little bit open like so. Maybe I can kind of bend it to stay like that. Okay, we'll figure that part out later. But for the thin strand of seasoning, I was thinking of using this. Remember spider gel? I used it in a short recently, and it's kind of like a UV resin, but different. It does harden on the UV light, but the substance itself is much more flexible, so it's easier to actually, you know, get a nice thin strand before it breaks. Well, in theory. So let's give it a couple tries and see what happens. So I'm gonna get a good amount on my toothpick, and then I'm gonna touch it to the silicone mat, pull it upwards, and try to hit it with the UV light at the perfect time. It needs to be thick enough to hold the weight of everything, but at the same time thin enough to look okay. So this is gonna be a little challenging, but I'm gonna give it my best. I think that might have worked. No, it didn't. Never mind. I should have cured it for longer. Maybe I can just cure it now like this. Okay, good as new. Now let's try to completely cure this thing. Alright, we're gonna snip the ends and test it out to see if it would work. So it would be something like this. Is it too high? Maybe it should be lower, like here. Yeah, I think we should snip a little bit more. Yep, I think this might actually work. I want to do another one of these just in case. Okay, I went really high with this one. It's all the way out of the frame, so let me see how I can manage it now. We're gonna have to cure it some more for sure. Oh, look at that. It actually stays by itself. I'm going to have to cure it from these other angles too, just in case. Alright, most of it's cured, except that bottom part, but it's fine, we're gonna snip it off anyway. So now we have this long stick which we can break into like a couple of them, but I really like the fact that it's a lot thinner, so that's definitely a plus. I just found this piece of plastic from the vegetables and I'm wondering if I put it inside if it's gonna keep this thing a little bit open. Oh, it sure does. I was trying so hard to think of a way that I can keep this open. I was thinking about pouring resin in there, but then I thought it's gonna be too heavy. Sometimes it's the smallest things that do the trick. Now let's figure out the size of this stick. Maybe we should use this, which is kind of like medium. It's not as thick as the other one, but not as thin. I think that's too high as well. Now maybe this is gonna be too short. Yeah, I think that's a good height. So let's stick this in place first with some resin. Now I'm thinking of using a little bit more spider gel to stick this to the top part and, put a little bit inside to make it look as if it's coming out. I think it's going to be really challenging because this spider gel is really difficult to work with sometimes. I'm honestly a little shocked that it actually worked. I do not like this thing here. I thought I can bend it and make it nice, but I don't like it, so I'm just gonna snip it off so we can have a better view of the whole thing. Here's a closer look at how it turned out. Now, it is my belief that if I add the chopsticks and everything else, it might be a little bit too much. However, I will do it, and if you ever think about doing something similar, then you can decide if you just want to do the chopsticks part or just the seasoning part, or both. Maybe it will turn out great. So for this part, I'm gonna have to take each of those noodles one at a time and place them here on top and kind of like build it up. And of course, I can't just place it on top here because it's just gonna fall over. I need a way to actually cure it in place so that it sticks here, but not to the tweezers. And then I was thinking and I had an idea. This is the piece of cardboard that was holding the straw from the first mini we built, but check this out. If I run one part of the tweezers through there, I can still use the tweezers, and this cardboard would actually block the UV light from hardening on the tweezers. And also if I bend it slightly like so, now I get coverage from all angles. I know there's still this hole over here, but I'm gonna be careful. Actually, maybe if I bent it another time like this, I can also cover the hole, kind of. Alright, something like that. You get the gist of it. It's just that now I have to pour this on something a little bit more flat so I can get the tweezers to grab them. So I'm doing this just to show you, because technically I need to grab them like this, but you can't see like that. I grab one like so, right, and then I would put it like there, and then I would hit it with the UV light. See? This is what I mean. In theory, it's a lot easier, but actually doing it is a little bit difficult. I think at this point I can actually stick them to each other. I just noticed something. It was unintentional, but I wonder. Well, that is absolutely perfect. It fits in there. I just need to add a little bit of resin and fix it in place. Now it's time for this other one. Now I have a couple of these smaller pieces of ramen that I'm gonna use to actually fill in some spots to make it look a little better. And for this, I don't need to use the tweezers shield because there's actually enough resin of them that they're kind of gonna stick to everything. Well, my battery died and I didn't even notice until now, but don't worry, you didn't miss too much. I just added a few vegetable pieces to the noodles here and one of those Hello Kitty faces, and then a little bit of chili powder here and there. This is the final result and I'm quite pleased with it, but what do you guys think? Now, regarding the MiniVerse Hello Kitty series as a whole, I think it's a okay series in my opinion. If you're a Hello Kitty fan, you'll obviously love it, but if not, you might get annoyed with everything being Hello Kitty themed, which can make it hard to use some of the leftovers for other projects. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, I did get a couple ideas for how I can make that apple pie, but I'm not gonna make it right now. I'm probably gonna do it in a short or something. But if you also have some unique ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments. Thank you in advance for liking, commenting, and for subscribing. And now, as usual, you guys stay golden and keep on shining until the next video. Bye bye.